Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Let me give you a few minutes for people to hop on. Let me make sure everything's situated here. Good morning. Good morning. If you guys are on audio listening to this, good morning to you. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're working out, listening to some podcasting. That's what I like to do when I do this. This is Mark Cox, and this is the Real Talk Show. And I'm going to discuss something about something I've been working on now since I believe I made the decision back in December to move forward with this, and so this is where I'm at, getting ready to launch a book, and why I've done it. Some of the stuff that you're going to kind of get from me inside this book. This is what this show will be about today. It may not be our whole hour today, but if I've got questions that pop up, you guys got questions for me or comments or anything of that sort, you guys drop them in the comment bar, and I will get to them and answer any questions that you have as we continue going. Once again, this is Mark Cox, and I've got a little bit of a tank top on today. It's hot out today. I'm sure that's kind of the way it is where everybody is today. I just got back from Las Vegas, so I have a daughter that just turned 21. Ariel just turned 21. She wanted to go to Vegas with two of her friends, and I got such great kids that they still want to have dad, tag along, not cramping their style or however you want to say that. So I took Michael with myself, and we went and celebrated Ariel's birthday. Um, and then I had decided to get on the show today just to talk about a little bit about what I'm about to launch and where that's going to go and what I'm trying to do with all of it. So I've had it on my mind, guys, for a long time. I've had it on my mind for quite a while to write a book and to talk about lessons that come up off to have lessons that, that you gonna on the lessons that I've learned on the physical side of martial arts, for one thing, is one thing, but the mental lessons learned from the mat has been something quite different, right? And it's a different journey for everybody. So when you guys get on the mat and you guys are struggling through what you guys are trying to accomplish in your own lives and stuff like that, it gets to be hard on taking your lessons and then go beyond the mat with them, right? So to be able to go out into the world with what you feel is lessons learned from the mat, and then it goes beyond the mat. And I've had quite a few in my 40 years of having a martial arts school. I've learned quite a bit of growing in myself. In the beginning, when I remember in the beginning, I was a young man. So in the beginning, when I first started a school, and I didn't really have children at that point yet. So, but I know I had a gift for teaching kids, and I enjoyed teaching kids. But at the same token, sometimes when you don't have kids, you think that you know how to help raise kids, even though you don't have them. So even though I had a gift at teaching children, I hadn't had any children of my own at that time, and trying to learn what that's going to look like as a dad in my future, and all my competing that I was doing, and the lessons that I learned. And I learned a lot along the way from some really great parents that kind of helped guided me back in those days too. And so I decided to take all these lessons that I had learned on the mat and kind of put them in a book style that I never thought of myself as an author, even though in my head, maybe you guys are the same way, right? In my head, I was like, well, I really think that I think I can write a book. And then you start, there's a method to it for sure, just like there's a method to everything. And you're like, wow, can I really do this? I'm not quite if you guys don't know my story, I'm not one of the college grads. I did one of those, when you mark off the box, you did some college. If you guys don't know my story from when I was a martial artist. I started older. I wasn't a super young guy, well, young in my 20s, but I didn't start as a kid, right? And so I had a different path altogether for what I thought I was gonna do. I was just kind of a machinist. I followed my dad and grandpa's footsteps, and then I was actually a pool man when I first opened up my school, and we'll talk about that, those meager beginnings in the book and what that looked like in the beginning. I just had this dream that I wanted to have this martial arts school, and I wanted to have I wanted to have a bunch of black belts underneath me. I had this goal for some reason in my head. I just had a goal of having 100 black belts underneath me, and I thought, wow, that's just an astronomical amount of number. But if you're going to dream, you got to dream big. And I got my black belt back in 1987. So, it wasn't as prevalent that what you see on every single corner. There's a martial arts school or a jujitsu school or Krav Maga school or whatever that was. There was a few real main schools around, and we kind of traveled around, did fight classes and stuff like that, and that's how we did things. So I decided that I'm going to move forward and open up this school, and it was really a eye opening, because when you're young, you have dreams, but you don't have any credibility behind you, right, or influence either way, right? So as you're young, you think, well, you're just going to do this. We're just going to open up these doors, and we're just going to go ahead and go for it and do what you're going to do, because you live life by emotions and dreams as a young man, and then you try to you make a lifetime out of having credibility and influence, right? Because are you really influencing anybody once you just open your doors? Is there, you'll influence students that come in and those that stick with you, and over time, as you learn and as you grow, your influence becomes bigger and bigger, and your credibility continues to grow. And so that's where I was as far as having a martial arts school. I had credibility as far as being a black belt, but really influence I had over my students that I had as far as up at the church. And then I had made this decision that, hey, I'm going to come down and open up this school. And I talked to Mr. Knight about it, and I said we need to keep the ministry up here because there's some people that won't be able to afford kind of lessons, and we started teaching martial arts as a ministry, and I didn't want to take that away from it, and so that's what we did. Those that followed me followed, and then those that stuck at church stayed at church, and I still came up for testings and helped with that ministry anyway, along with my brother. So this is kind of where my journey started in martial arts, guys, and so I just had this. I was told. I was told so many times that I would never make it. And when you guys are told something so many times, you have two ways of looking at it, right? You have the way of you're going to allow their comments to influence what you say, or you're going to fight back and against, I guess, for the lack of saying, against all odds, you're going to emerge and be victorious. And sometimes victorious isn't just wealth wise. Victory lies in setting out to do what you say you're going to do long after the mood you set it is gone, right? And so we have these ups and downs in life, right, where we feel things don't come to us as fast as they need to be, and then we lose patience, and we think that if then we're just going to spend our time elsewhere, and I'm going to quit this, and I'm going to move to a different venue or whatever that looks like, and we just never finish anything. So if there's one thing I can tell you from my lessons beyond the mat is when you set out to have a goal, you have to have realistic goals, number one, and then you have to have realistic follow through. Those two things everybody says, shoot for your dream, shoot to the top, do your thing, and dream big, and do all that. But then underneath your dreams, everybody has those, right? This is kind of where I want to be. This is what I want to do. And then underneath it is, wow, I need to have some realistic goals. Now, is it a realistic goal to be able to graduate 100 black belts? Can I do that? And then when you start looking at it, as years tick by and your influence continues to grow and your credibility continues to grow, and so does your black belts. In my field, at least, right? My credibility grew as my school grew, or as I helped other people get goals from themselves, like becoming a black belt. So this is what has happened, right? So uh, I had this goal that I wanted to open up a school. That was number one. And then I get a reality check of no one's going to talk to you. You don't really have credit, and it's not just as easy as you think. And then things happened to me when I was getting ready to open up the school that I wasn't prepared for. I wasn't prepared for the DWP to say, "Hey, you have no credit." And so you don't have any credibility. Once again, it's not just credibility in what you do for a living, it's the credibility in your life, right? So I was a young guy. I didn't have any credit. I didn't own a business before, so I didn't have any credibility with the DWP. So they say, "Hey, until we see that you are actively doing things for a year, we're going to go ahead and you're going to have to give us a $1,200 deposit uh, to have your lights turned on." When that just wasn't an expense that I was ready to have or ready to experience. I was like, man, that was just something that hit, and it continued that way through the process of opening up a school. First it was a city, and then there's permits. I mean, all this stuff that nobody taught me in school. Nobody taught me what the real thing's going to happen when you open up business, right? And I think that's a downfall in even just in our school systems, period, right? We're so busy doing political garbage on what we're trying to teach our kids that they don't learn the meat and potatoes of, let's just say, for instance, compound interest. Can you imagine if your child had a compound interest uh, investment? You guys have had credit cards. You know what compound interest does. It ruins people's credit, and it ruins their lives because they're just so in debt they can't get out of it. Now, imagine if we were taught like that, what the reverse of that is. What is compound interest going to do for you in life, and how can you utilize that so that your money is making you money? Just nothing taught like that. Small business things, that there's going to be permits, that you have a sign permit, you have, if you're going to do any build out, there's permits, certain things that you can get away without having a permit that you can do. None of this stuff is talked about. Everything is learned as you're getting punched in the gut every time you try and just open up the doors. And this is just the reality of a business. It's not just a martial arts school, it's just business, period. And so these are my struggles. And so I said, hey, you know what? I want to have when I look back, even as I have a coach in this whole process, I'm a firm believer that you need a coach when you are going to go do in endeavors, right? So if you want to be a fighter and you want to go out and fight and do stuff like that, you're going to need a coach that's going to be along your side and give you the ins and outs and what's going to look like when you're getting ready to get in that fight or get in that ring. Having a coach when you want to be a professional baseball player or professional, or even just a strong college player, whatever it is you're looking for, you got to have that coach that can take you from being good to being great, and it's that coaching that gets you over the top. And so I went with that even in writing books, right? I decided that I needed a coach in writing a book. I needed somebody that's been down this road so I can avoid pitfalls and money pits and everything else it's going to do. I'm going to make an investment to write a book. That's what I'm going to do. And so I found a coach. I found his name is Emilio Ramon, and he is the one that's kind of my coach in what's called a co-author network. And so I decided that I got a coach. I made this decision last year that I want to write a book. I really didn't put it out there until I was ready to go. And so with that being said, I decided that, okay, I got this this lifetime of experience. My credibility and influence is greater than it's been because I'm a little bit older now and I've got life behind me and I've got grown kids behind me, and just a different life altogether, so that I can share with everybody my pitfalls and my wins. And and you need to have them both. Just so you know, you need to have some wins when you're trying to better yourself. If you don't have any wins, then you're just going to go down a rabbit hole, uh, and self doubt, and you're just not going to do well. And so I've thought for a long time, okay, the name of the book, what am I going to name it? And I wanted, um, I've thought of a couple other things, but I think martial arts is so much more than on the mat. It's way beyond the mat. You're going to take lessons here on that mat in humility and ego and influence and credibility, and you're going to take those outside uh, the mat that you've just done working out on, and you're going to go into life. And what is that lesson? What lessons did you learn from the mat to go beyond it? Right. So your lessons don't stay inside these four walls and this matted area. It's got to take from there, and it's got to be translated out to what you're going to be doing. And that's what I decided to do. So this is what I've done. So what I've done, so here's the book. The book is called Beyond the Mat, and I have uh, uh, this is what it's going to be looking like right here. All right, and it's called Beyond the Mat. That's the cover of the book. And if you look in the back, I have so the meaning of it right here, as you can see it. If you guys are listening on it, it's got a big bold that says Beyond the Mat, and in the background you kind of see my different belts that I've had throughout the years. Right, my red belt's in there, and my black belt for Tang Soo Do is in there. My purple belt for Jiu-Jitsu is in there, and it's kind of faded in the background. And it's called Life Lessons in Grit, Grind, and Growth. And this is where I decided to take the book and give you guys lessons in some of the stuff that I learned over these times, right? And the lesson is, grit and what that means, and grind and what that means, how to grind through things, and just the growth itself. So I have a website now. It's called beyondthematbook.com. Let me put this in the comments for you real quick. All right. It's www.beyondthematbook.com. I'm going to put that in there, beyondthematbook.com. And so now you guys will be able to see that. And this is the actual website of Beyond the Mat book, where you can order and pre-order, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And so let me tell you how the book is going, okay, and how is it completely done. It's so close. It's within 30 days of being completely done. And we're going through edits right now, and a couple other chapters that we're kind of getting. It's probably going to be about a 10 chapter book, and it's going to be an easy read and stuff like that. And so that's what we're covering. And so if you look on the website, we're going to talk about a little bit about, there's two things, right? We got grit, grind, and growth. And the grit, so here's what I wrote on the website about this. All right, grit, the meaning is as follows. This is what the meaning in Webster is: firmness of mind and spirit, unyielding courage in the face of hardship or danger. The book will take you through some of struggles and hardships, and what I did to forge forward with a relentless will to win. So that's the grit part of what I did, because it took a lot of will. Just so you'll get a little bit of the the 6 months, the experts throughout the book. But I'll tell you this, that 6 months into having a school, I almost had to close down. I needed to go find a coach. And if I couldn't find a coach, I probably would have had to shut my doors. I had to go find somebody that did it better than me and could teach me how to do it, how to run a business, a martial arts business. And, that's part of what grit is. When everything's against you, you've got to have the grit to move forward and learn from it. The grind portion, grind in life means one who works or studies excessively. So Webster says it has even, it's got different meanings, right? Grind does, but one of the meanings in it is one who works or studies excessively. It says here, I worked a job, then taught in the evenings. I'd rise early. I'd grind all day, then repeat it. This is what self-discipline looks like. The book will take you through some of lessons of the grind, having a never quit attitude, beating the odds while helping others. This is something that, I talk about in there, about just the daily grind of what it looks like to teach a class every day, to get up every day, to go to work, to make sure you can provide for your family, and then you go and pursue your dreams, right? So I had to make money here and pursue the dreams here, and I had to grind that out every single day, because it's not like it is today. Like, as years go on, your influence grows, just like I said, and so does your credibility, and so does your staff and everything else, and you grow your business, and it just becomes different as the years go, right? The growth part of my book talks about life lessons beyond the mat has been so rewarding and difficult at the same time. My growth as a man, as a human being, has been a God-driven lesson in courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, and an indomitable spirit. My hope is the lessons I have learned can now help and encourage others to pursue a life of excellence. And so I want to take some of my stuff out of my book about what I've learned and what I've grown from, and go ahead and uh and pass it on to those that, maybe you struggle. I've had a lot of things in my school. I've witnessed birth, I've witnessed death, I've witnessed marriage, I've witnessed divorce. I mean, it's been a whole gamut of emotions, and you're going to find, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this, and uh, listen well, because teaching the kicking and punching and defending against knife, gun, and stick is a lot easier than trying to help those navigate depression and fortitude, with, and having depression and coming to me with it, and then trying to encourage them to have fortitude to work through it, because I've had all that experiences of my own, even through a divorce and everything else that happened with it, the depressions that come with it, the self-doubt that comes with it, the self-doubt that comes with business. These are real stuff. This is not stuff. This isn't a Facebook fairy tale that everything was hunky-dory all the time. And I'm going to write about all these awesome stories. Man, I had some troubling times, and people just shutting doors on me on a constant basis, and it used to really piss me off. Like, you're not giving me a shot, you're not. I said, I'm going to show you, you don't want to give me a shot. You're going to see. You're going to see at some point people will come to me for advice on how to have a school. And that's what I ended up doing and focusing in on. So, when I decided to write this book, I decided in December. I got my coach in January, and we started the process. And that's why you haven't heard me talk about it. But now, guys, Beyond the Mat is going to be in pre-sale now. So also, we have about, I don't know how many authors we have. I'm going to be releasing my book in New Jersey. Okay. I'm looking forward to it because it's really close to Philadelphia, and I'm going to go to the Rocky Stairs, and I want to see that portion. You know how much I love the story of Rocky, so I'm going to go there and see that. But I'm going to release my book on January 6th is the official release date of Beyond the Mat. And all the editings and all the stuff will be done by then. I'll have some kind of a physical copy of, so you can kind of see the cover coming up in the next week or two. And we have, I don't know how many authors we have, maybe 12 that over that weekend that's going to launch their books. And I'm one of those featured authors that's going to launch the book at the Co-Author Network. And I'll be signing books that day. I'll be selling books that day. And so this is what I'm getting prepared to do. So I want to make sure that, all my ducks were in a row before I kind of put it out there for pre-sale. So out of all the authors, just so you know, once again, I wanted to set the bar high, and I wanted to push the other authors to what they're going to do to have it. So my goal is to get a pre-sale of, I want to get pre-sale of 1,000 books before January 6th. That's my goal. They say when you release a book, if you sell, you'll become a best-selling author in if you can sell 300 copies, 400 copies, and that kind of thing. And I said, I really want to take this to the next level. I want to see if my influence can get past these goals and really raise the bar. set the bar high and try and sell 1,000 books before 1,000 autograph books before the release date. And so that's what I did. So you guys, if you go to beyondthematbook.com, you can now start pre-ordering the book. It's all set up for that. You can pay right there online. The book will be MSRP at $24.99, but it will be on pre-sale all the way up till I release it for $19.99. And so I've already had some copies sold. I've already at the co-author network, I've already got people that have decided they are going to buy. Some people bought 2 books, some people bought 5, and they're going to be pre-ordering 5 books. I'm going to be able to, all the pre-orders, I'm going to be able to handwrite in there. You guys will have when you fill out your payment thing, it'll be on there with your name and stuff like that, and I'll make sure that everybody has an autographed copy. And I decided to do some of the other authors. I'm not sure how they're releasing their books, but and I'll let you know who all these other guys are with me that's releasing the book. But those that order 5 or more books from me, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I send a coffee cup out to you before the release date. All right, it'll be a Real Talk. It'd be a Real Talk coffee mug, from my show here, and on the other side it'll have the title of Beyond the Mat. And I think you guys will enjoy it. Anybody that orders 5 books or more, I'm going to send a coffee cup out to you guys. It'll be that'll come in before the book does. So just I'm looking for people to come and help me out and make sure that I can see if my circle of influence can take us to the next level and help with the other authors, push them to that next level. Because it's going to be pretty fun when I release it out there in New Jersey, and I'll get to be one of the speakers, and then they have asked me if I would pull out kind of. If you guys don't know, I used to be a champion brick breaker back in the day, way back in the '90s when I competed all the time. That was one of the competitions that I did where I held titles in. And so they asked, hey, you think you can break bricks? And so I'm like, man, I'm just kind of an old guy now. But you know what? We can always set up bricks, and I can always smash through them even at my age. So I'm going to do a little bit of brick breaking. I'm going to do a little bit of talking on stage. And this is kind of where I want to go. This is the next chapter of what I want to do with my martial arts training, is to get out there and be keynote speaker on events and sell my book and sell the lessons through the book. And this is so this is my goal. And if I can, implore you guys to jump on the bandwagon with me and help push me over the edge to that goal of ordering more than, getting more than 1,000 books before the day it's completely released, pushing it already to be a bestseller, I would greatly appreciate it. So, I know that some of the schools underneath me have already wanting to book where I come, and I can do some signings even at their school. Some schools are going to order 10 books or more for their retail center, and it's going to be, that'll be already in their retail center when it comes to time. So this is kind of where it's at, guys. Once again, this is the official release date of Beyond the Mat. I have a Facebook page of Beyond the Mat Book, and I have an Instagram page, Beyond the Mat Book, and I have a website, beyondthematbook.com, and this is where you can go. I tested everything out last night. I'm looking at a couple things. So don't crucify me too much, as it just got released last night, right? The website, and I can already kind of some of the grammar in there I got to fix up a little bit, but don't crucify me too much. I wanted to get it released. I wanted to talk about it today on Real Talk, and as it will become, my own book will become a sponsor of what I did. This is what my life is, and the lessons learned from it. And I have a lot of them, guys. I had to really kind of pick and choose, because more than likely there will be a Beyond the Mat 2.0, which is what I don't fit into this book. But what you're going to learn from me in the beginning is kind of my struggles in the beginning of opening up a school, what that looked like, how I fought through that, what I did to make it more feasible that I can become a martial arts school owner, because any martial arts school owner, or if you work for a martial arts school, if you're an employee, right? One of the things that I heard I heard all the time is, well, are you going to get a real job or not? What's a real, getting a real job? Not really sure what that all means when you think about, am I going to get a real job? Because they don't think that working for the school or that you owning a school is kind of a real job. They don't really realize that it's a business, and the business just happens to be changing people's lives through martial arts. It's like any other business. There's a profit and loss statement, and there's ways that you have to make sure the company can be profitable in order for you to be able to continue teaching classes and to continue changing lives. And as much as any martial arts school owner I know wish we didn't have to charge for everything that we do, it's a weird dichotomy. I've learned this lesson really, really well. This is another lesson. Now, I didn't put this lesson in the book, but I am going to tell you this. For some reason, a martial artist, most people think, why are you charging us for taking lessons and stuff like that? Right. And so I have watched my students over the years, right? Those that struggled to pay, or however that looked, and they were struggling. And then I said, um, I'll help you through your tuition and stuff like that. And once they get a career, let's say, I'm going to give you two examples. That's for me, right? So I have one that became a great lawyer and one that became a CPA, right? And so when they were going through martial arts, and I remember telling them this. I tell everybody this: hey, if I'm going to help you with your tuition because you're having a hard time or you're struggling, I'm going to help you, and I'm going to let you take class, and I'm going to let you get your black belt, and I'm going to help you with your tuition. Then I expect you to pay that forward to somebody else. And I had to remind both of these students of mine one time. One time I needed help, and the CPA goes, yes, I can help you out with this. It's going to cost like $80 an hour. And I looked at her, I was like, I said, $80 an hour. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, because that's kind of out of my league, so I'm not going to do it. I just want to know something, that when you were coming up the ranks and you struggled and you couldn't pay for your lessons, and I decided to help you out, did you pay that forward to somebody else? Now, obviously, you're not doing it with me today. You're not going to pay it forward, which is okay. It's not something I expect. I'm not expecting. I don't do things to expect to get things for free. I do things, though, to expect you to get the lessons out of them and make sure you did. And I said, I want to know who you paid it forward to. Or are you just, now that you've reached your influence and your credibility, is it just about, how much you're going to charge now? So I've found that to be true so many times in my world, where for some reason this is just one of those weird things. You don't expect a doctor or an attorney or anything like that to do anything for you gratis, but you expect your martial arts instructor, or you're the coach that's going to take you to the next level. You're expecting the coach not to get paid for his time, experience, credibility, and influence. Because in the beginning, right, you don't really have, it's a weird thing. You might be this awesome martial artist and winning tournaments and doing all that kind of stuff, but you don't really have credibility behind you. And without credibility, you don't really have influence. That comes with time, right? As time goes, your credibility rises. And as your credibility rises in an area, so does your influence on others. And then you can influence how, you can influence others' lives by your credibility in your life experiences. It's just the way it's designed. That's why you always hear us say, all us older guys, we're always saying, man, if I had the knowledge I had today, if I had that knowledge today when I was a young man, And then I have to ask my questions as a young man. Uh, would have I taken my own advice as a young man? Because most of the time as a young man, you already know it all. And old people really don't really know what they're talking about. And so that's just a turnaround about what credibility is. I've watched a lot of young guys talk about leadership and think that they're leaders, and they're put in a leadership position, but their life doesn't have any credibility behind it to have them. Now they can get people to follow. I've seen great instructors have it. They have people to follow them, but they don't really have credibility yet because they really haven't done anything outside of teach some class. And so if you want your credibility to rise, that takes years, and that takes time to do what you're going to do as far as am I going to win tournaments, or how's my influence going to happen so that people can see what I have is valuable to them, right? And it's going to change lives. And that's what it is. And that's kind of what my book's been about. It's been about, I guess another title for it could have been, life lessons in leadership and how to grow your credibility and your influence, because you think you have it. I think a lot of people think they have it because they have a brand new black belt around your waist. And so you think you automatically have authority in that area. Now, you might have authority in your rank, but you have to build your credibility in your leadership, and you have to build your credibility and influence. So other people will listen to what you say and say, okay, what he's saying is valuable, or what she is saying is valuable, because look at their life. They have this, this, and this. Or look at how many, in my world, how many black belts have been produced. And how many black belts stick around? Does that mean you hit it out of the park all the time? I certainly don't hit it out of the park. Trust me when I say I don't hit it out of the park all the time. It's a lesson in growth. That's why one of my things is grit, grind, and growth, because growth happens on an everyday basis. When I started jiu-jitsu, my growth was even more, right? And it's given me a new it's renewed something else in my leadership or my coaching skill, that I might have a high rank in here, which automatically gets me authority. Let's just say authority, right? Because I'm a high rank, I have some kind of an authority in that rank. But and as I've gone through and I've produced my own black belts, that ends up giving me credibility. And when my credibility comes in, my influence on others and how to make them get their black belts and stuff like that has grown exponentially, right? So this is where I'm at with that kind of thought process. So I decided as, hey, you know what? Beyond the Mat is a great book. I mean, I've got a lot of things, and you guys heard a lot of my stories. You've heard a lot of my stories on how I opened up my school, how I was told I couldn't open up the school, lessons in what, me watching somebody pass, and that was one of the small excerpts out of the book about, I never forget seeing a nonverbal, mentally handicapped person, blind, being away from their dad. But as soon as their dad passed away, he started rocking and knew at the exact moment that his dad had passed away. That's just a lesson. I can't get out of my head that if that does not prove that we are spiritually connected, there's no other explanation for it for me, because I was there and I experienced it. Right. See, that really doesn't have anything to do with kicking and punching, or my times on the mat where I am, I might be this high rank, and everybody knows I'm not a big fan of the Grandmaster title or whatever that, the GMC title. Because at the same day, yes, I've reached that rank here, but I get on the jiu-jitsu mat and I'm back down at lower ranking material, relatively middle rank, I guess, in jiu-jitsu, with so much more to learn. And so it's just such an evolving, circle, that's what I decided to write the book about. So that when people come and you tell yourself that you don't exercise patience or you don't exercise humility, your credibility will never grow, right? I think that was the beauty of jujitsu for me, right? Rank is just a weird thing. I wasn't even expecting a stripe. This is I wrote something about the cotton stripe, right? That goes around this medical tape that goes around your belt. And it doesn't really mean anything to anybody else, but man, that little quarter-inch tape that gets around your belt, it's a reflection of possibly a year and a half's worth of work of being consistently on the mat and consistently rolling and getting better and better as time goes on. And then this little stripe is recognizing your efforts and just what it means to you when you sit back and you say, wow, that stripe means the world to me. It may not mean the world to anybody else, but to me, it means a lot in my world. And these are the lessons, guys, of Beyond the Mat, right? Because that's going to make, as you go out of the school and you're going to go influence others, or you're going to have another job, you're going to remember that recognition doesn't happen every single day, but people watch. And when you are recognized, it's going to mean something to you and down deep, right? And maybe that's going to make you a better leader. Maybe your skill at recognizing others isn't great, right? This is probably one of my weaknesses, I would say, as a leader, that I have the greatest people around me that work for me and everything else. And I'm hard. I'm not easy on them, right? But they are out there doing it, and as a leader, you don't want to. I don't want to pat everybody on the back every single day, but there are times that you have to stop back and give some recognition of what it looks like and from all your efforts for the year, and that's what I put into play for my own self and for our organization, so I can make sure that we can have that happen. And so these are lessons, guys. You understand this, right? This doesn't have anything to do with this is how you choke somebody out, right? This is about how you maybe it's not how you choke somebody out. This is how you're going to survive, because when somebody's trying to choke you out, there's not much you're thinking about outside of am I going to make it through this? Okay. Am I going to make it through it? Am I going to be able to survive? Am I going to push through? Am I going to weather a storm? Am I going to be able? There's nothing I can think about for these next 10 minutes or match right here, 5-minute match, about this guy has more skill than me, but I'm going to push forward. Okay. I'm going to push forward to make sure that I can forge through this. And then I'm going to take that outside the mat. And when I'm at my job or when I'm at my business and I'm trying to forge forward and do everything that I need to do, I'm going to need to forge forward and be and accomplish things that others can't. And I'm going to learn that lesson when I'm on the mat, when someone's trying to choke the life out of me and I weathered that storm. I'm going to take that same thing and I'm going to go beyond the mat and I'm going to apply it in my life. And it's such a correlation of what goes on in a martial arts world. So that's the name of the book. Beyond the Mat is my lessons that I've learned through tournaments, through business, through different things. And I have a great coach and I have a great writing coach that is helping me navigate this, because I never thought in a million years that I would be an author, a writer. Okay. I just didn't really have, I'm kind of one of those guys, right? Hey man, I'm just a martial arts instructor, man. I'm not anything special. I try and take people from a beginning status and get them to a black belt status, and in between, I'm going to try and get their mental growth where it needs to be. And then as years tick by and your influence, and all of a sudden, I don't have 100 black belts underneath me. I have over 600 black belts underneath me, close to 700 when you put in Krav Maga. And that is a lifetime of work that just happens as you continue to work and you persevere. And then as I persevere through years, my credibility will grow. And hopefully through my credibility and my experiences will help you grow outside of the mat, right? Make sure that you take these lessons that I talk about. And I think you're going to relate to a lot of them. I just really do. I when I look back, even when I was a little, to be honest with you, when I was with my writing coach, Abigail, we're going through this, I'm kind of talking to her through the experiences of what chapters and what we're going to talk about. And these are going to be the chapters of the books. And And I remember going through the process with her and reminiscing back on when I was nothing, man. I had nothing. Man, I was just a pool guy. I was showing up in a 1987 Mazda truck, a B2000 truck with chlorine in the back, and a great dog named Misty that was my pool dog. And I was humping leaves out of the pool in the winter. Now, I'm not going to lie, the pool man job is awesome in the summer because I was jumping in pools, beautiful pools every day. But I just remember in the cold winter Santa Susana wind days of California, me just mucking dead rats and stuff out of people's pools. And that's just what I was. To think that at 61, I'm going to release a book called Beyond the Mat and My Lessons, that is just not something that was on my radar. I don't even know if that was on my radar 5 years ago. It wasn't on my radar that I have a podcast like this that is starting to have a following and have a professionalism to it, and people are connecting. So it's so with that, I'm asking again with great humility if you guys can just go to Beyond the Mat book. Okay, not just Beyond the Mat, it's beyondthematbook.com. If you guys can go there, the website is up. I was just looking at it and I said, you know what? I'm going to order. I bought the very first book last night because I didn't release it to anybody. Even some of my closest friends didn't really know I was getting ready to release this today. So last night, it's about 11 o'clock, and I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and release this book. And tomorrow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy my very first copy myself. And so I went in, and of course, it's to make sure the website's working. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to own the first copy of my own book. And so I put my credit card information in there, and it was awesome. I should have had that because I kept it. It says, "Bing, you've gotten confirmation of a sale on beyondthematbook.com." And I'm like, wow, that's the first sale. That's it. Now I only have 999 books to go. All right. To make sure I can try and sell 1,000 books before the release date of January 6th. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. We'll wrap it up a little bit early. I even talked longer than I thought I would for my show, but I'm asking guys if you can share. All right. Let me put this in here. Okay. I'm going to put at my Instagram. Ronnie just popped up here. Roy, you can't wait to read the book. Yeah, Roy, I'm looking forward to you reading it. Looking forward to the feedback. Ronnie just is on here. If you guys know Ronnie, once again, I talk about having coaching, right? And Ronnie was my coach. He was my fitness coach for a very, very long time. And he's more than a coach at this point. We're brothers at this point. But Ronnie, I didn't even tell Ronnie about this book. He just found out it today. He texted me and he goes, "You didn't even share this with me." And to be honest, I told him, I said, I didn't share it with anybody because I wanted to make sure everything was out, everything was professional. I told some people that I was going to write a book, but that's what it is, right? Oh, you say you're going to do something, and then does it really come to fruition? And so there were struggles in the beginning of writing the book. Okay. And because I was like, man, how am I going to do this? Do I think that I can, am I going to be able to sell this, or am I going to be able to write this? And I just didn't know. Am I going to tap out? And so one of the reasons I decided to go ahead and write the book and go with the coaching and invest a good amount of money is I knew this: if I invest in the money, I'm not going to back out. I'm going to follow through. Excuse me. And I'm going to follow through with this. So that's what I decided to do. So I put up there, my Facebook is Beyond the Mat Book, and my Instagram is Beyond the Mat Book. It's out there. It'll redirect you back to the website of www.beyondthematbook.com. You can go in there. You can read a little bit. I was just reading it again a little while ago. I was reading it, and I'm like, man, there's some grammatical errors in there. I got to reach out to the guy that is working with getting it out there for me and say, hey, we need to fix some of this spelling now that I've, not that I'm a spelling Nazi, but I don't want to, you don't want to be an author and then have some whack sentences in your, this is what I'm talking about. This is the growth I talk about right here. You just got to be real with it, man. Okay. I'm getting ready to release a book, and some of the English on the website is off. What the heck? And so that's why I decided that I got to get in there and fix some of that today. So guys, if you can, somebody had bought a book already since I've been on this line. I've just got another one, so I'm not sure who's number 2. We'll see who it is, guys. If you buy multiple copies, I will, when you guys do this, I will reach out to everybody personally. I'll see who wants them autographed. If you want them autographed, I'll be glad to do that for you. If you're going to be buying them for friends, also you're going to buy more than one copy. You guys, I will reach out to you once I get the invoices popped in and who you guys are. I'll reach out by email and stuff and say, who exactly do you want? And by the time the books come out and they are going to be released, and we are going to shoot this thing out. Now, remember, guys, we're already in the middle of June, okay? January 6th is not going to be here a lot faster than what we think, okay? We're already in the middle of June. We're going to be in the end of summer. We're on the back end of summer coming up into 2 weeks. We'll be in July, and we'll be forging through to the holidays and getting ready. And I think that if that's what we're going to be doing, we got Christmas and everything else coming up. I'm looking forward to it. So I'm asking you guys to pop in for me, order a book, order multiple books for your friends, and help me reach that goal of 1,000 books. Help put me at the bestseller author. I appreciate it. I'm going to sign off, guys. Have an awesome day, and I look forward to you guys reading Beyond the Mat and being part of my journey. I love you all. Have a good day.